the lesson. Last week, we shared about the lessons that we picked up from the Impact Summit, and I just wanted to share the bit that was still left. As I hear from different people who attended, a number of them have been shared in different forums, different meetings, and different platforms. But today, I just want to share some of those others in case you missed them, in case you did not attend, or in case you attended and maybe you did not capture some of those. We'll still be able to pick up some of the things that I'm going to share. So I just want to share a few other nuggets. My other device is still updating, so once it finishes, I'll be able to share my screen. For now, I want to pick it up from where we left it off. And there was a lesson that I think it was Josephat and Pierre Rose. This was in regards to sponsoring. And this is what they said. They said, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. Yes, so if you want to go fast, then yes, you go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. That is something that is related to how we build the business, especially in terms of sponsoring people, supporting them, working with them, and helping them to grow their business. So if you bring people on board and you support them and you help them to grow, that way you will go far. However, if you choose to go at it alone, you'll just move alone. And I mean, you will not get as much impact as you would if you were working with other people. So it is something that we think about. If you want to go fast, if you want to go alone, if you want to go with others, you will go far. So it's not just about going fast. It is about doing something that is sustainable, because at the beginning of a month like this, if you are alone in your team, all you have is your personal production. But when you begin the month and you have a team that you are empowering, guess what? Within about 10 days, you are doing much more. Why? Because as a team, we are stronger together. So it was just a lesson for us to think about how we are building the business. Are you doing it alone? Are you doing it with others? When you think about your daily activity, do you find that most of it is you and you alone, or are you doing it with your team? Are you supporting your team? Are you doing events with your team? Are you doing a one-on-one with your team? Are you involved in an outreach? Those are some of the processes we go through in order to empower our teams to become better. So that was the lesson. The other one is a lesson that was shared on setbacks. I think we also touched on this last week, that it's impossible to shield yourself from setbacks. It's impossible. Setbacks and challenges are just part of life. So you just have to embrace yourself. It's not like you can, or I mean, you can't shield yourself from them, but you can learn to go through them. So while you may not shield yourself, while you may not keep yourself away from them, but one thing you can do is that you can empower yourself that when you go through them, you go through them successfully. And the person went ahead to say, our business is a no, 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 yes business. Okay, there are so many no's we go through. There are so many obstacles we go through, but as we go through those things, we can know that there is a yes coming. And the only way you will miss the yes is if you stop somewhere along the way. Because if for sure you just keep on showing up, you keep on approaching people, you keep on talking to someone, it's just a matter of time. I mean, the law of averages will ensure that at least at one point in time, you're going to meet somebody. You're going to meet someone. Yes, you might meet so many people that may not be interested. You might meet people that may not want to do the business. You might meet people that will give you all these kinds of rejections. But as long as you just keep on showing up, you just keep on showing up and showing them the products. You keep on exposing the business. You keep on helping them to appreciate exactly what we are doing. It's just a matter of time. someone will show up and say, this is what I've been looking for. And for that reason, I would like to start. So the whole point being that if you just keep on going through the no's, in fact, a no brings you closer to the yes. So when you get a no, remember that a no means next opportunity. That's where we build resilience, because resilience is the ability to bounce back. So as you go through the business, build resilience. Just remember that it's a no, 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 yes business. Then there was another nugget that in order for us to transform our lives, it begins with our mindset. And it went on to say that success is 80% mindset and 20% strategies. 80% mindset, 20% strategies. Now, what does that mean? You could have the skills, you could have the techniques, you could even have the knowledge, okay? But if the mindset is not right, if the attitude is not right, at the end of the day, it won't pay off. Why? Because success is 80% mindset and 20% strategies. Doesn't mean that strategies are not important, but it simply means that what is your attitude? What is your attitude? Yes, you might have all the information that you need, but if you don't have the right attitude, if you don't have the mindset of, let me give myself a chance, it could be the attitude of, it didn't work out last month, but I will do this again. It could be the attitude of, if others can do it, I can also do it. That mindset of saying, yes, I'm going through this phase, but it will also come to pass, and I know that someone will come on board. So that mindset, as you build your business, it's an empowering mindset, and it is the one that is going to help you to grow your business and go far. So it's not only about the strategy. In fact, many people will tell you it's a lot easier to learn the strategy if the mindset is right. Recently, I interacted with a lady. This lady is the Deputy Executive Director of Civil Aviation Authority. Now, Civil Aviation Authority is the organization in charge of air transport here in Uganda. This lady is not, technically, she did not train as an aeronautic or flight person. She is from a totally different field. But she said, within less than 3 months, I had got all the technical things I needed to learn for my job. Now, this person was hired not because of how good she is technically as far as that job is concerned. She was hired because of the mindset she has as a leader. Because if you have that character of a leader, you can learn anything. You can be put in any field and you will pick it. Why? Because it is more about the software than the hardware. In fact, as you go higher in life, you realize that more of the skills that we need to go up are actually skills that have to do with people, not necessarily the technical skills. So in the same way, it is 80% mindset and 20% strategies. Just remember that it has to do more with your mindset than with the strategies. So let me just put in this and then I share my screen shortly. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Andrew, kindly help me to unmute my second device. Okay, thank you so much. That's what we have been talking about. It's impossible to shield yourself from setbacks and the fact that God uses every challenge to transform our life. Yes, that we talked about last time. God uses every challenge to transform our life. So whatever challenge it is that you're facing, it doesn't matter. That could be the ingredient for your next level. There was another point up there that don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. Yes, don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. And the thing about this is that sometimes it will have to be, unfortunately, you will have to fight some of these battles mentally. So someone tells you something and you don't have to necessarily answer, but in your mind, you have to make a resolution and say, watch, it will be done. One day, you read about me. You can actually use some of those setbacks to propel you forward. So someone tells you, I don't think this will ever work for you. I remember when I just started the business, my dad was particularly not very positive about it. I couldn't stand up to him and say, for me, I have decided. No, you can't do that. I just kept quiet. And in my heart, I said, you know what? One day you'll be proud. One day you'll appreciate what I'm doing. I remember one time we had an event as a team, and that event I received a check, a big check, a bonus check, as a recognition as an incentive of 5.5 million Uganda shillings. Now that would be maybe about $1,500. So it was a big recognition check. I went to put it in my room and it faced the wall. Okay, so I made the figures face the wall. So one time while I was away, he was passing by and he saw in the corner, he saw something unusual. So he went and turned it to see what this was. So when he turned it, he saw pay Jesse Ainebiona the sum of Uganda shillings, 5,500,000 Uganda shillings. Then he put it back. When I came home that evening, he called me and said, my son. Now, when he would call me by that name, my son, means he wants to say something really affirming. So I knew his tone. So he called me and said, my son, come and I talk to you. So I came, he sat in the chairs together. And then he said, when you started that business, I was not very, very positive. I saw that gift that you received in the corner. And I just want to tell you that from now onwards, you have my blessing. Wow. That was one of the most reassuring conversations I've had with him. Where did this come from? It came from the fact that I chose to just make a resolution and say, it doesn't matter. You may not see what I'm doing right now. One day you will see it. One day you will read about me. One day you'll be proud of me. One day you'll be grateful that I did this. So you have to make a mental and inside resolution. Right. So if you don't change, that was another one. If you don't change, change will change you. Just think about areas in your life, areas in your business where you need to do things differently. You see, many times we refer to change talking about technology. I think this point came in at a point when we were talking about social media. I want you to think about generally the way you approach things. Sometimes we get stuck to the way we have always done things. Then someone comes up and says, maybe we need to do this thing differently. And it's different from the way you have been doing it. Naturally, we resist change. Naturally. I mean, it's a natural thing. We get used to our ways of doing things that when someone brings a new idea, you're like, how will this work? We are never sure of something that we have not done before. We are much more comfortable doing the thing that we know how to do. But there comes a time when we need to challenge our own methods. We need to challenge our own approaches. We need to challenge our own way of doing things. So how willing are you to change when you need to change? It could be that you have been approaching things a certain way, you have been inviting a certain way, but now a time has come, you realize that, for me to get better results, maybe I need to change something. It may be uncomfortable for now, but inevitably it will pay off in a big way. So don't be afraid to embrace change. If it is something that you have been doing, that you're used to doing, but now you realize that for you to get better, You need to change it. Feel free to change. Feel free to change and have the mindset that says, it's okay, I can learn this. Yes, I have not been talking to people where I was, but now in this role, I need to do this. Have the mindset that I can do this. I can do this. I remember one time I was leading a group and I asked one of them to take a certain task. And the question I asked was, who has done this before? Okay, then no one put up. And then a young man put up the hand and said, I have not done this before, but I can try. That was quite a good response. I have not done this before, but I am willing to give it a try. Now that was good. Yes, you may not have done something before, but are you willing to change that big mindset and say, look, I may not have done this before, but I'm willing to give it a try. So if you don't change, change will change you. It could be that maybe you're learning how to use social media. Maybe you're learning how to do something that you had in training, but you just feel like this does not work with me. Give it a try, change. Because if you don't, change will. We had another lesson that do the uncomfortable and then you will become comfortable. Do the uncomfortable. Do the uncomfortable. In this business is big. One of the things I appreciate a lot about this business is our personal development, our personal growth. Now, when do you tell that you're growing? When do you tell that you're growing? You can tell that you're growing by many things, but one of them is how uncomfortable do you feel? You can tell that you're growing when you feel stretched. You can tell that you're growing when you feel, what I'm doing right now is not the usual. That's when you know that you're growing. It's like when you do workouts, like when you do a physical activity. Like, for example, if you're doing push-ups, you do 10 with ease. Now, if you do 10 with ease, you can be sure that those 10 are not impacting your body. When do they become impactful? They become impactful when you add on an 11 and you realize, this is really painful. Now that is where your body is benefiting. As long as we keep doing things that are comfortable for us, we are not growing. You can easily get into a zone of comfort. And as long as you're comfortable, you are not growing. So what would uncomfort look like for you? Would it be standing in front of an audience? Maybe you are comfortable in one-on-ones. You are comfortable with that one person, 2 people in front of you. But when you have 15 people, all eyes on you, maybe for you, that is your uncomfortable zone. Would you challenge yourself to step where it is uncomfortable? Because that's where your growth is. As long as you do the things that you are comfortable with, you're not growing. So we need to learn to do the uncomfortable. Maybe you are used to talking to people of a certain caliber. Now, that is your comfortable zone. Now, can you challenge yourself to speak to people that, quote unquote, intimidate you? That is where your growth is. As long as you do the things that are comfortable, the things that are familiar, we are not growing. So you know that you're growing when you are doing something that feels uncomfortable, you feel challenged, because if something does not challenge you, it will not change. Okay? Let me say that again. If something does not challenge you, it will not change. That's one of the things I appreciate about this business. It can really challenge you. It can really challenge you. I mean, qualifying at your title, taking that step, it is challenging. 3 days to month end, you're like halfway the mark. You know what? You push and push and push yourself. But you know, the growth is in the pushing. The growth is in the strain. The growth is in the struggle. That is where we grow. As long as you're comfortable, you are not growing. One time, a science teacher chose to give an experiment to his class. And the experiment was that in the next few minutes, so he put a cocoon of a stage of a butterfly. So it's egg, larva, pupa. Yes, it was a cocoon of a pupa. He said, in a few minutes from now, it is going to begin to come out. Now, please don't interfere with it. So he left it on the table and moved out. Indeed, in a few minutes, the pupa began to push its way out of the cocoon. Now, it was really struggling. It was really pushing its way. You could tell that it was in pain. Then after some time, one of the students saw that, my God, this thing might even die in the process. So he got a pair of scissors and just cut somewhere. When he cut, it came out with ease. And just after it came out, the teacher also returned. And then he asked, tell me what happened. Tell me what you saw. And the class told him that, yes, we observed, as you said, it was beginning to come out. Then we saw the struggle and we feared that it might die in the process. One of us got a pair of scissors and helped it by cutting so that it would come out with. The teacher said, unfortunately, this butterfly will not be able to fly. Why? Because the struggle it goes through to come out of the cocoon is what gives power to the wings. And indeed, it came out and they waited for the butterfly to fly. It couldn't fly. Why? Because it had been robbed of the opportunity to strengthen its wings. In the same way, it is when we go through the struggle, when we go through the discomfort, that we gain our strength. Our strength comes from our discomfort. So sometimes when you help people, by the way, it's not a good thing. Let them go through their struggle. Let them go through their pain. Let them go through their experience. That's how we grow. I would never have grown if someone was doing things for me all the time. It's like children. Sometimes you begin by carrying them. You begin by carrying them. But the time comes when they have to get on their feet. They will try, they will fall. They will try 2 steps, they will fall. 3 steps, they will fall. That's how we learn. Because you cannot be an adult that is still being carried. You have to learn to fly. You have to grow your wings. Uncomfortable, but we must. Next point was you get out of life what you are, not what you want. You get out of life what you are, not what you want. In fact, in leadership, there is a law that is called the law of magnetism. And it's exactly this. The law of magnetism simply says, write down the kind of people you want in your team. In fact, let's do this practically. Type something about the kind of person you want to have in your team. Okay, so type in the chat. What kind of person would you want to have on your team? If you had the power to choose, what person would you choose? Qualities. I mean, it could be someone who is committed, someone who does not give excuses, someone who comes for training, someone who uses the products, someone who is enthusiastic, that's what I'm talking about. So type for me in the chat. What are some of the things you would want to see about the person or the people? I've given you some of what I would want to see. People who don't give excuses, people who are self-motivated. Thank you, Dr. Cesar. People who are ambitious, people who are teachable. You don't bring someone and say, but now, look, I've been at this for over 20 years. What can you teach me? And who is a go-getter, or someone who needs to go out and get things. Thank you. Someone who is consistent, someone who has discipline. Great. Now keep that list coming. Someone who is a fighter, Joseph Omot. As you think about the things we are writing, what that law of magnetism says is that you don't attract the kind of person you want. However, you attract the kind of person that you are. Not what you want. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. So in other words, if we are saying, like Molly has said, someone who is self-driven and focused, want a self-driven person, you yourself be self-driven. If you want a resilient person, you yourself be resilient. If you want a consistent person, you yourself be consistent. If you want a positive person, you yourself be consistent. If you want a hardworking person, you yourself be hardworking. In other words, you get out of life not what you want, but what you are. That's why we need to first work on ourselves. Because when we get better, we attract better people. Birds of a feather flock together. When you work on yourself, even the people around you, one way to add value to others is to first add value to yourself. Because for you to give value, you must have value. You cannot give what you don't have. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Work on yourself. Okay. A few other lessons, and I see those comments. Thank you so much. Beautiful areas that we want to have to see in the people that we have: a positive mindset, empathetic, positive and willing to solve problems. A problem solver, not the kind of person that complains about problems, but someone that suggests solutions. In fact, I know a team leader who said for him, whenever people in his team come to him with a problem, he told them, before you share with me the problem, as you come with a problem, you also come with a solution. Okay, so when you share with me the problem, you go ahead and share with me what you think we can do about it. Okay, so that was one way he trained people to become problem solvers, not only them identifiers. Harder on yourself than anybody else. That was the lesson in there. Then enjoy the discipline of doing the right thing. Yes, enjoy the discipline. Enjoy the discipline. Enjoy the discipline. Enjoy the discipline of eating right. Don't look at it like I'm suffering, you people are enjoying, you people are eating hamburgers. No, enjoy the discipline of exercise. It's not a punishment. It's not a punishment. In the recent past, I've seen cases where heart attacks have become really common among young people. Someone wakes up in the morning to go to work. Before they get there, they tell you the person has collapsed. Normal. The person is normal. Enjoy the discipline of exercise. Enjoy the discipline. Enjoy the discipline of doing the right things, of doing the things that you know are right for your business. Enjoy the discipline of adding a name to your name list. Enjoy the discipline of contacting people. Enjoy the discipline of going through those 2 people every single day. Enjoy the discipline of following up. Enjoy the discipline of doing the right thing. Remember, as you do that, it's okay to make a mistake. Most important thing is to learn from the mistake. John Maxwell wrote a book called Failing Forward. In other words, when you make a mistake, it is okay. Learn from the mistake. The most important thing we can learn from the most important thing we can find in a mistake is to learn from them. Make it, most importantly, learn how to do better next time. So thank God for the mistake, because out of that, you have picked a lesson that will help you to get 2 more lessons, and then we wind up. This came from Rico Brown. Live by priority, not pressure. Live by priority. In other words, prioritize your life. Prioritize your day. Don't do things under pressure. Do life, live through priority. Prioritize yourself and say, what are my big rocks? We talked about that some time back. What are my essentials? What are the things I need to take care of? So prioritize your life. And he said the priority in our business is sponsoring. The prioritize qualifying. Prioritize qualifying. Make it a priority. Don't qualify in case things are convenient this month, I will qualify. No, let it be a mindset and say, you know what, this month, this is my plan, and this is what I'm going to do. Prioritize. Live by priority, not by pressure. No matter what we have achieved, our best and brightest days lie ahead. This was a point that I kept thinking about. No matter what we have achieved, no matter where we have gone, no matter what we have done, our best days lie ahead. The thing is that sometimes we can easily live in the glory of our past. We can easily keep looking back and say, those days, my God, we did things. Yeah, that's true. But our best days actually lie ahead. Because we are people, we are human beings. We grow, we get better, we think better, we discover better ways of doing things. So look at yourself and look ahead and say, no matter what I have done, no matter what I've achieved, no matter what I'm getting right now, some of us feel like this is the best time of my life. The difference between what we do and some people out there, like athletes, is that an athlete reaches a time when they're at their prime. Beyond the prime, they begin to go down, and that's where they have to retire. In our business, our best days lie ahead. Why? Because we bring people into the business. So we bring people into the business. So no matter what you have achieved, always remember that our best days lie ahead. And I just want to conclude here with some questions for personal reflection. Number one, where will your business be in 5 years? Maybe our time is fast spent, so let me pause here because there's another training that has to come on. But let's pause right here and maybe let's pick it up from here next. So for now, take away this. Ask yourself this question. Where will your business be? Yeah, just think about that question. Maybe for the rest of this week, when we come back next week, let's begin from here. Where do you want to see yourself? And look, don't just write fantasies. Write down something that you actually believe you can achieve in the next 5 years. This was a question that was asked, and I asked myself that question. If they ask me this question, what would I say? So where will your business be in 5 years' time? Pause here. Let's pick it up again. Yeah. Heavenly Father, we thank you for morning. We thank you for this day. You be with us as we apply the lessons that we have learned. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. Great. So have a good day as we apply the lessons we are learning and as we seek to become better people. Have a wonderful day.